Good morning, Tottenham fans. Tottenham are being linked to many players, but there is one massive issue that doesn't get spoken about enough, and that's our problem with our squad registrations for the Champions League. We have squad registrations for the Premier League, and we also have it for the Champions League, but they're both completely different, and it's really hindering our progress of signing players, and it needs to be spoken about because we're going to have to make some sacrifices, selling some key players just to fit in some new signings so we can register them for the Champions League. It's mind-boggling how we haven't kept on top of this in the last decade or so, but I think in the last couple of years Spurs have really tried to get on top of this. You can see why we made certain signings now, and it is slowly coming together. In the next couple of years, it will be okay, but for this season, it's going to be a problem. Now, if we just didn't have any European football this season, then it would have been fine. We could have signed 3 or 4 players, and we wouldn't even have to have sold any. We just would have not been able to play a few players because they wouldn't be able to get in the team unless there was loads of injuries. But let me get into the rules, the Prem rules and UEFA rules, why they contrast. Why is it an issue, what we can do to solve it, and we'll go from there. So homegrown Premier League is example of this is played for any club associated with the FA for at least 3 seasons before turning 21. So we've got homegrown players. I think we have 7 in our squad at the moment. So we've got Solanke, Gray, Spence, Maddison, Davis, Johnson. So we've got homegrown players for the Premier League. That's fine, and you're allowed to in the Premier League you can register 8 homegrown players. We have 7. That's fine. We've still got room to fit one more in, for example Eze, if you wanted to bring one in. But when it comes to UEFA rules for homegrown, I think you can register 4 homegrown players and then only register 4 club trained players. So because we've got 7, that's already players missing out on that. I think Austin was included in that. That's why I said 7. So technically 6 because Austin can go into the club trained. But then we've got, so for the UEFA, you have to be registered for any club associated with the FA for 3+ years between the ages of 15 to 21. Now, Danso doesn't class as homegrown now because he played his youth career in England, which made him homegrown for the Premier League, but because he moved away to a foreign country, he doesn't get classed as homegrown for the UEFA rules, which is another dent in us, you know what I mean, another thing that we have to deal with. So we've got 7, we've got to fit 4 into that 7. So what happens then is we've only got 1 club trained player, and that's Austin. That means that leaves 3 spaces. And this is why you'll be hearing in the news that Spurs might be going for Kyle Walker-Peters or Dennis Sirkin, because those 2 will still be classed as club trained and they can fill up our squad. But as it stands, we only have 1, so that means we're 3 down. They take those 3 out of your squad. So, for example, we can only register a 22-man squad at the moment. So it's not ideal. These things will be rectified in time. Club trained is registered at Spurs for 3+ years between the ages of 15 and 21. So in 2 years' time, Archie Gray and Bergvall will be club trained. So they will go straight into the squad, the European squad, as club trained. As will Mikey Moore. The reason why Mikey Moore's not club trained yet is because he's only 17 and it's between the ages of 15 and 21. So Mikey Moore next season will be classed as club trained. Another player that will be classed as club trained if he stays with us is Vuskovic, because Vuskovic has come to us at 18, and if he stays to us till he's 21, that makes him homegrown. We'll fill the 4 slots, so this problem won't be a problem in 3 years' time, or even in 2 years' time. It won't be such a problem. The catch on that is if we loan any players out, we cannot class them as club trained. So we need to not loan Gray out. We need to not loan Vuskovic out. So when people are making up what they're going to do, sell, buy, loan, We can't loan Gray and we can't loan Vuskovic. Otherwise, this club-trained problem is going to carry on for years and years. We've got the players in now. Let's just develop them and get them into this Champions League squad or European squad or whatever we end up being in. We've got a List B as well. A List B is under 21 players. In the Premier League, it's unlimited. You can have as many as you want. And that's another problem we have, because this is where the Premier League and the Champions League get mixed up again. So in the Premier League, you can have unlimited under 21 players. It doesn't matter when you sign them. You can sign someone now and they can be in your Premier League squad next season, but they don't class as in your squad. So you've got your 25-man squad, and then you've got the under 21s List B it's unlimited. So that's a reason as well why Spurs have been buying so many young players, to fill up the squad, as well as, nurture them through and end up being club trained as well. So, and here's the catch, in the UEFA Champions League next season, if you're under 21, you have to be playing for the club for 2+ years, which is another problem for this squad. That means the likes of Bergville, Gray, Odegaard, Tell, all under 21, are not classed as under 21 in UEFA Champions League, because none of them have been with us 2+ years. So this is another problem that will be solved next season if we get into Europe next season, as Gray, Odegaard and Bergville will all be classed as under 21s, and it will be limitless. You can have as many under 21s as you want. So the problems in the future are fine, but the problems right now are big problems, because what happens is, if you can't fill those spaces, the likes of Bergville, Gray, Odegaard, Tell will all have to go into your foreign list. And that means you have to make space in your foreign list. We can only have 17 players in the Champions League for your foreign list. We have about 21 at the moment. And we have to start getting rid of some people, because I'll put this up on the screen, hopefully, if I can. And I'll show you the Champions League. If you can see it, I'll show you the Champions League players we have, the squad, and I'll show you what players we should. I think I've put in blue who I think we should sell. I've put in white who we should leave out of the squad, and I've put in the grey area the players that we could sign and add to this squad. And we've also got club trained in there as well. So as you can see by the table, I've had to start getting rid of some players. So Sonny, Richarlison, Basuma, Solomon, Gill, Davis. I think they all could be sold in the summer to make space. We could then sign the likes of, just for example, Eze and Bremo, Hugo Larsson, that Swedish midfielder. He's quality. I wouldn't put Vuskovic in the squad. I wouldn't put, just because of his inexperience, I wouldn't put Dragushin in because he's injured until November anyway. And I wouldn't put Gray in just because of his inexperience. But I think if there's a space and we don't sign more than 3 players, Gray can come back into the squad. That's fine. His versatility would help us anyway. But Kulusevski may even not be able to be in that squad. Depends on how long his injury is for. And if not, then we can sign another player. So that's how you solve the problem. You can solve the problem by leaving a few players out, selling quite a few players, and then bringing in some quality players, and then they can go into the foreign list. Because at the moment we have a problem with our under 21s, a problem with our club trained players. You might see Dennis Sirkin or Kyle Walker-Peters coming in, so they'll be on the club trained list. That'll give us an extra player. Kyle Walker-Peters makes sense because he can cover both fullback positions, so that will be okay. So it's not as easy and as straightforward as you think. Just sign all those players and everything's fine. It doesn't work like that. Spurs have to really manoeuvre cleverly now. They can't just loan out these youngsters either, because they need them to be club trained. So there's a lot of difficulties at the moment, and there's a lot to think about. It's not just go on, buy players. If you did do that, which you can do, it's not like against the rules to do it, but if you did sign 3, 4, 5 players and you haven't sold anyone yet, let's say Sonny was still at the club, Richarlison is still at the club, all the ones I said that I would sell, Basuma, are you just going to not put them in the Champions League squad and just put these new players in? How are they going to feel about that as well? So it's a lot to think about. It's not just straightforward as you think. Hopefully I've explained this okay to you. Let me know in the comments what you think, and come on you Spurs.